26 years of age now, he's Ruud. Deepest run here in Melbourne so far, reaching the last 16. That was 4 years ago now. Hasn't necessarily been able to make too many inroads here in Melbourne thus far. Certainly by comparison with the other majors, anyway. Decent start to the year. Won a couple of matches at the United Cup. So 3-0 he is coming into this one. Mensik, on the other hand, played both Brisbane and Auckland, where he made the quarterfinals of both before being upended. Class already.
Yeah, exactly. Took the words out of my mouth, Nick. Great choice of shot.
It's the ball pretty flat, does Mensik, off both sides. Certainly in contrast to his opponent. Meaningful returns, Fitzy.
I think we've got 4 eyebrows in this commentary box that were just raised all at the same time then, Nick. That's a sign of his power and talent. Gee, he took that early, didn't he? He lambasted that return of serve.
At the final of the juniors here, actually, did Mensik only 2 years ago. In fact, 3 years ago, excuse me. 2022, he made the final of the boys. It's a forehand that you don't want to see him have a lot of time on, because he can do a lot of damage with it. We'll bring Andrea Petkovic in momentarily. Here's the win predictor, and there is absolutely nothing to separate these two in that regard. Pekko, good evening to you.
Good evening to you. Yeah, I have, again, I'm the luckiest girl alive. I have the best seat in the house. It's really beautiful to sit so close to these incredible athletes, and right away that backhand of Mensik's, it just flies through the court with so much power and accuracy. Really difficult to handle for Ruud, and it will be interesting to see what Ruud will do to his second serve, because he tends to favor the kick serve that goes into that strong backhand of Mensik. So we will see whether he will make some adjustments in that regard, but it's very fun to watch.
Yeah, a sense of deja vu in many ways, isn't there, from 24 hours ago here, possibly, with one of the teenagers threatening. Had a period last spring where he was actually out of the game. He had some issues, physical issues. Missed pretty much the entire clay court swing, did Mensik, an elbow problem. Back to school. Finished his studying. Actually made some modifications to the serve as well in that period, just to try and alleviate a bit of pain. But it's a serve, Fitzy, that we've seen can do a lot of damage already.
Well, yeah, his serve, his whole game. Academic choices when he makes a shot selection, that helps. You know, the biggest thing I notice year by year, I think, is the power. And, you know, when you see these guys hit the ball live, it's why it's so fascinating. And I'm a little jealous of Andrea's position down there on the side of the court, because you really do get up close and personal with how hard they hit the ball, the power. Well, I think that's an interesting play. Ruud can play defensively. He can rally for long periods of time. But I think tonight he needs to attack more, because it seems logical that Mensik won't defend as well as he will attack. He's a big body, a young body. It'd be interesting to see how well he does defend if Ruud attacks him, if he gets a chance.
Yeah, we were looking through the ace count last season. Mensik averaged 9 aces a match. Now, you've got to bear in mind, of course, those numbers for him. He didn't actually play that many matches in majors. So when you're averaging 9 and you look at that in the table, that's pretty high. It's top 10. It certainly goes to prove how just dangerous he can be. Of course, made a big breakthrough in Doha in February, where he made the final there. It was only his 3rd ever tour level event, and he made the final, settling in pretty early.
He's the type of player that's going to finish some points quickly too, isn't he? No mucking around there. He's gone after that straight away.
Oh, did he slip on some perspiration there, or just lost his footing, didn't he?
It looks more like the court is very worn there because of probably people practicing. That's why they hit it most, and good returns. But it does not look moist in any way.
Has to come forward, doesn't he? See, I like that in a young player. Someone who's multi-dimensional already in his game. Pretty good technique, fairly cocked racket head there, but got the strings behind the ball nicely. Wow. Yeah, he's pretty scary, this little young lad.
That's a good word. Let's have a look at the spin rates. This is fascinating from the first round. Of course, a lot will depend on who they play, but there's a massive difference in terms of the spin rates. Ruud obviously is generally up there in terms of the sort of top tier of forehand spin, but Mensik, you can see there, is relatively flat. He played Basilashvili, so you do have to factor that in as well, but stark contrast between the two forehands. Petko, you kind of feel that backhand line could be quite an important shot for Mensik tonight, because Ruud does like to run around and cheat in that backhand corner.
Yeah, absolute. So he's always hovering in that backhand corner, hoping to catch a forehand from there. And with Mensik, now that he's relaxed, he's hitting the forehand beautifully as well. It's going to be interesting to see how that wing holds up under pressure, because in the beginning with the nerves, he was kind of guiding it rather than hitting it.
Born and bred in Prostiev. What do they do in Prostiev? They've got like a production line there, haven't they? Goodness me. They just breed tennis players there, don't they, Fitzy?
Well, for a small country, their record is just staggering, isn't it?
Extraordinary. Too many non-Grand Slam nations that have had the success they've had. That was short, and that was punished.
18-13.
Rushed him again.
Yeah, you're right. And he's a man that doesn't miss much normally. Casper Ruud, he's got great margin. That spin rate that you explained a minute ago, Nick, sort of attests to that. But if you get rushed by the power of a young player like this, it can cause some difficulties.
Chance to break early on.
Yes.
He actually made a slight change to his string pattern as well last year, did Mensik. And to an 18-19. He was previously an 18-20, but just they felt like with the elbow injury they wanted to make that shift. There we go.
I wonder if the power and, you know, the threat of the big hitting and winners coming from the racket of his opposition will cause Casper Ruud to go for a bit more than he normally would. And the fine line he might walk there between making winners and making more errors because of that.
Yes.
Got up to it so quickly. And again, as you say, he's looking fairly natural when he does come in.
I don't know about you, Nick, but if we could buy shares in a young player, I think you and I should get a few here. Andrea might too. Look, he's impressive so far. He's he gets a lot of first serves in when it matters, doesn't he, Casper?
He's only missed 2 in total so far.
Well, I think in this situation on the break points, if he misses a first serve, he's under big threat, and he's done well to play the percentages, get the first serve in, and keep his opponent at bay.
With the out wide serve, largely on these break points so far. Will he utilise that again?
Yes.
It's like the young bull and the old bull.
Just so much work on that ball, isn't there, to be able to bring it down.
And he's not that old, by the way.
He's not. 26.
26-year-old old bull.
Seems to get himself caught positionally for once.
Well, that's twice he's gone across court when he's approached for the volley. And if I'm to critique so far, it's the fact that if he goes here, he has to really have Ruud stretching. If he's made to play a volley like that, it's more difficult. I'd rather see him come in down the line and get Ruud take his hand off the two-hander. Give him an easier volley. Does well.
Certainly does. 4 break points come and go for Jakub Mensik. 3 holds to kick off the evening. Of course, newly engaged. Pop the question. The off-season, so hopefully there's some wedding planners that they've employed, some good ones if they want them. Seems to be the modern day way, but it's fiance who's here this week. Getting a bit ribbed, wasn't he, by our good friend Josh Eagle about that the other day. That's a lovely on-court interview. That's the picture outside. And it's a bit of a wet one, I'm afraid, tonight. Hopefully, get a little bit of playing elsewhere. So a threatening start by the teenager. Serving 1-2.
59.
Alex Stober on the right there. Physio.
He's been around a long time, Alex. He's not aging. It's a bit like our co-commentator. Well, that approach I like better, but he just hit a poor volley there. That wasn't a difficult one for him. Maybe didn't quite put enough on this forehand to come in behind, but that's a pretty good approach. A good passing shot to make him play, but that didn't look so good. They're getting his teeth into the match now, Casper.
15.
And I always feel that Casper Ruud is playing well when he's using his backhand down the line frequently. You sometimes see him get stuck in those cross-court rallies, but when he's using it, you can tell that he's confident.
Again, stepping back to return the second, as he did on the previous point.
Out. 32.
So he's slightly, in this day and age, one of the more unusual backhands, isn't it, in terms of the amount of spin it has on it. A lot of modern day backhands are flatter, it feels to me, when you sort of look at the top 20. I'm not saying they all are, but his is heavy. He's able to open the court up with it because of that. But
Well, it's easy to see what he's trying to. I mean, he wants that first return deep to keep his bigger opponent at bay in the first hit of the point.
Out. 40. 30.
He'll be disappointed here. Two straightforward errors. One on the return, one during the rally. Had a window of opportunity in this game.
Game Manchester. 2 games on.
very much feels like the modern day player as well. He's able to hurt you off both wings, doesn't it? It's not, I'm not saying it was always the case, it was one-sided, but you look at Fonseca last night, Sinner obviously, both wings they can do damage off.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
He gets away with it. I just don't like his tactic of hitting his point across court. If he wins more than his fair share of points doing that, all power to him. But, gee, it opens the court up for a right-hander there to... I guess he just anticipated well, didn't he? Tough to cover those angles.
And I wonder, Fitzy, what you maybe he's having with his technique trouble getting that down the line well hit, because he's kind of guiding it. It's a higher part of the net. He's not 100% confident on the forehand down the line, it feels like.
Foul. Fifteen, 13.
Where the flatter strike, you can just lose it a bit, can't you, if you just don't have the cover sometimes. That's the case there. Thomas Bernick actually in the crowd. And this man's corner, he's now the Davis Cup captain for Czechia. There he is. Still looking in showroom condition, as our good friend Rob Koenig likes to say.
Sort of annoying, isn't it, really?
Good team they've got, haven't they, with Lehechka and Mensik leading the charge.
Yep.
Going for the big second. That's it. Another double.
Wow, that's a statement.
And I think that's why he is avoiding that kick serve on the advantage side, because of that backhand, risking a lot with that slice T in the previous point, Casper Ruud.
He's able to make the breakthrough, but a little fortunate with the forehand, but Mensik is the first to break in set number 1. So look at that rally again. Look at that forehand in particular. He's beaten all ends up, in fairness, was Ruud, but wasn't able to recover his position.
Time.
Affable character, isn't he, Casper Ruud?
Well, I think he's just a good person too, good family. No airs and graces, just good people have produced one heck of a player. He's under the pump here though. He's up against a young powerhouse. There he goes again. Okay. So Petko, that sums it up for me. If he keeps going across court, then I think you're right. He just favours the cross-court point. But if you run forward after that, it's dangerous.
Yeah, and I think even if it geometrically didn't make sense, which it does, just to cut off the angles, you want to stay away from Ruud's forehand, right, on passing shots.
Yeah.
Didn't quite do enough with the second forehand, did he? Just guiding it down the middle.
I tell you, one thing's for sure, Nick. He believes he belongs here, this young 19-year-old. This is a world-class player, someone who's been in 3 major finals down the other end. And he believes he should be here.
Yep.
It's a good sign, isn't it, for a young player?
Yeah, he's been in some good company. Spent some time with Djokovic, trained with him, I know, on a couple of occasions over certain weeks. He was the guy he looked up to. Of course, he got to play Djokovic, didn't he, in Shanghai last year? High-quality match it was as well. Ended up losing 4 in the third. What a match that was, 2020.
I think we've got us a ball player.
This was delicious in its execution. Encouragingly, he's winning the longer rallies as well, on 5 of the 7 over 9.
I didn't really see you as a delicious guy. Oh, take that.
It's only day 4, Fitzy, right? You might change your mind by the time we get to the end of the tournament. Leading in that particular category, though, is Ruud. This was a clean hit.
I feel like he's trying to be more aggressive, getting on the front foot a bit more. Ruud. Took that backhand early. It's not as heavy as Mensik's backhand return of serve, though.
Pretty even split with the serve. If you look at the patterns early on here, almost 50-50 on the ad side. A little more favouring the tee on this side so far. Mensik.
Advantage. Mensik.
Well, I think he's trying to press more than he normally would on the return.
Yep.
And I understand why, but it's fraught with a little bit more danger from his point of view.
Turn was an inviting one, and 6-4 and held up there. Let's have a look at this forehand. Interesting to see how it holds up when the pressure really grows in this match.
Long levers help to generate power, don't they?
Yeah, they certainly do. Been very competitive this. We've had 56 points already in just the 6 games. It's been tight.
If he gets the first return deep and heavy, he's going to go after the next ball. Not much Ruud could do there, but just defend short. And that's an easy put away.
Mm-hmm.
15 on.
Second, that was 205 Ks. Danger here of letting this slip away.
There's been some cumulative pressure here, though, building, hasn't there? And I think mainly it's the heaviness of shot, the devastating power that the young player has here, and he's put Ruud on the back foot a little bit. He's trying to lift, be more aggressive himself. One more break point to go down. 2 breaks in this first set.
The 1 point when he has gone out wide on the ad with that first serve so far. He's been handy on the break points. Needed to be as well. Mensik just 1 from 7 now. Break points converted. Oh, what a pickup. And almost a nod of appreciation from Casper Ruud as just how good that was.
Yes.
Well, he's hanging in there. I mean, a loss at that point probably, surely would have made the first set final in favour of Mensik. But Casper, gee, he's got his back up against the wall.
Yeah, isn't he just? Crisp volley. That was firm.
Well, I've got to say, he's not Pat Rafter yet at the net, but that's impressive. Pretty darn good. His forehand volleys looked a little bit bricky at times, but he's a young player. I love the fact that he's coming forward. He's going to have a fabulous all-court game before we know it.
10 of 13 in the forecourt.
Game.
And more crucially,
New ball stays.
he's 5-2 to the good here. A double break now for Mensik, who will serve to get a one-set lead here in Melbourne. Just building pressure, isn't he? Consistently,
Well,
really, Fitzy.
He has. It's cumulative. He's maintained it and just sort of broken the wall, the dam wall, hasn't he, in this first set now?
And it's really fun when you just watch him. He has great body language. You can just tell that he's hungry for this. He wants this so much. The fist bumps, the nodding. He really, really is hungry. It's so fun to watch from the side.
Time.
Play's about to resume on the outside court, so I'm reliably informed. A couple of hours delay. This match will continue to be played indoors on Margaret Court Arena. There's too many seats to be had either right now.
I mean, when he's confident and he has two breaks of serve, he can just let it fly here. Such a beautiful natural motion, isn't it? He might be a better version than Thomas Purdick, by the way, and I say that with the utmost respect. Wimbledon finalist. But he's got some flair, this kid, and he's got versatility, comes forward a lot.
Yeah, Burdick, a career high number 4 back in the day. Decade ago now.
I think Petko is right. He absolutely prefers that cross-court forehand there. Maybe it is the grip. I can't tell from up high here, but down the line, sometimes he misses that opportunity, I think.
3 set points.
Foul. 14-15.
Well, last night on this very court, a teenager beat a top 10 player. Is Lightning going to strike twice this week here at Melbourne Park? It's a distinct possibility. 6 a sport.
15.
Certainly feel as though the game has developed a lot in the last year, don't you?
Yes, if you stand still, it goes past you.
Mm-hmm. What are you seeing down there, Petko? Feels to us as though Ruud's just beginning to overplay a little early in some of these rallies. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, and the ball that comes off Mensik's racket is incredibly heavy. It makes a sound, and you can just, it's not only, and Margaret Court Arena is a bit slower. It's not only the way it flies through the ball, but it keeps skidding through the court after it bounces, and it feels like Ruud doesn't like to be rushed, and that's why he's trying to rush Mensik himself, and it's very hard for him to play this kind of game.
Yeah, I agree. He's been taken out of his comfort zone, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he did well, Casper Ruud there. He won the point, but all 4 shots he played there were from a defensive perspective. He was defending from start to finish. Gets away with the point because of a rally error from Mensik, but he's defending constantly.
Mm-hmm. Had the most of the opportunity to get the first strike in there, though. So effectively.
And I do think another factor is you showed earlier the numbers, how flat Mensik's shots are. You can really tell from courtside that they are very low. And as you both know, it's not easy to create spin off of a flat ball that slides through the court. And I think Ruud just needs an adjustment period to find his technique and adjust it towards Mensik's game here.
Does the roof help Mensik being closed, Pekka? What does the roof do here? I mean, is this effectively an indoor match? Simple as that?
I would say so. Yes, it's quite high, but it still feels very indoory. And you can just see, I mean, I'm 10 feet away from Mensik. You can just see that he's feeling the ball in the middle of his racket, and it's just so plump. I can't think of another word.
We like that word, Pekka. We like it.
Plump is good.
Yeah.
Juicy plump, you know.
Yes.
Like a peach just sitting there. Good stuff. Yeah, he plays more like an indoor player, though, than Casper Ruud. Ruud plays more like a clay court player with the spin he uses on the ball. And both of these nations have a lot of indoor tennis. It's just a different style they've developed.
The return was a very effective one. He was able to follow it up nicely. Little opening here, perhaps, to swing the pendulum his way at the start of the second.
Oh.
enjoy there.
I'm not sure if either of you two heard it, any effects there in your earphones, but I thought I heard a let.
Did you? Okay.
Petco?
I didn't hear a let.
No, okay.
I didn't hear a let.
I'm not playing you anymore, Fitzy.
Okay, well, I'm trusting younger ears than mine.
He's hearing voices.
There's a forehand line. Right in the strike zone, isn't it, that one?
Yeah.
Hip height, perfect for where he wants it to be.
Look at that follow through. The racket head travels so far in this modern game. That creates power. That's bludgeoning the ball.
30.
And a great example here to see the two entirely different forehands. This one's heavy, it's shaped, but it's not doing as much, is it, to Mensik?
It doesn't get from A to B as fast. Mensik's is like a rocket from one end of the court to the other.
Yeah.
I mean, this forehand is a bomb.
40-50.
Clever. And good variety from Ruud. He's thinking, he's trying to come up with different ways to win points. Trying to adapt.
Gave him a bit too much of a look. And Ruud wasn't going to need a second invitation.
Well, I think in this sport, when your peripheral vision sees a space, it's not always the right place to hit the ball. There was a space there he thought short, but as he was making contact, Ruud read the play and was already 2 steps towards that drop shot.
Thank you for switching your mobile phone to silent.
We told Petco to turn her phone off, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's so busy, it just never stops moving. It's outrageous.
Advantage, Mensik.
Big second, catching Ruud by surprise.
Game match.
3 big deals, good enough to get him out of trouble.
1 game.
Doesn't really have any tennis in the family. Mensik, his father was actually an ice hockey player, I believe. In the family, real tennis genes. He said he watched Wimbledon as a kid and loved it. He's keen to take up the sport.
59.
Actually gives a lot of credit to a gentleman called Ivo Muller, who was his childhood coach. Said he owes everything to Ivo, who very sadly passed away in 2013. But still speaks very highly of his former coach.
Well, you know, Petko raised the point that Casper Ruud plays well when he starts hitting that backhand of his down the line, because that's where you can hit a lot of winners. There's more risk down there. It's a higher part of the net. You can miss it a little easier, but if you're good enough to make it, you get better rewards. And Mensik himself is very capable. That backhand looks pretty lethal.
Second serve speeds. But Ruud, you can see, has upped it a little bit today, going on last season's numbers. Feeling as though he needs to, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. That's a sign that he feels under pressure on his service game. Be careful to overuse the drop shot on a hard court. It's not as easy to pull that shot off as it is on a clay court. This has to be perfect.
And Fitzy, it almost feels like he's trying to find ways to get out of the regular baseline rallies, where Mensik seems to be getting better and better in his ground strokes the longer they continue.
I absolutely agree with Petko there that he is trying to finish points in a shorter way. And you know what? That's not good news for Casper Ruud in this matchup. His main strength is from back there. But if he feels like he's under the pump with the best part of his game, that's a bit of a worry from his camp's point of view.
One of the differences as well, just taking a look at some of the graphics that we get in here, is the return depth that he's finding right now. Just looking at our data here, he's getting the ball back to Ruud with a lot more length.
Yeah.
And it's on Ruud a bit quicker.
Yeah.
I mean,
makes him defend.
Yeah. Allowing him to dictate.
Gee, what a golden opportunity Mensik just missed there, though. That break point. Wow. He's still a little upset about that miss.
Just couldn't quite drag it back in.
Casper
Casper Ruud has held on to his own deal. Importantly, 2-1 his lead. The MCG in all its glory. Some historic sporting moments that has, isn't it?
Have you ever been to
I have actually.
a sporting event there?
I have. Went to the Boxing Day test 15 years ago.
Time.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's a bit of history.
Yeah.
Who was playing?
Australia. What a sporting nation this really is. You've been part of it, Fitzy. You made a bit of history for this country as well.
Well, I'm not so sure. I mean, there's a lot of outdoor activity here. It's conducive to playing a lot of sport. And traditionally, we have. I'd like to think we punch above our weight, but it's possibly for others to decide.
Lafferty.
Hey, listen, whenever I'm lucky enough to go to the All England Club and I walk past the winners board, always see your name there, Fitzy, with Lizzie. Was it mixed doubles you won with Lizzie? Remind me.
You haven't defaced that, have you, by the way? You're a member, right?
Luckily I am.
Good for you. One day I want to go and have tea and scones.
Okay.
Was that possible?
It is, absolutely. We'll get a date in the diary.
Yeah, I'm really happy about that. There's gold lettering.
There is?
Yeah.
Walk by it every time I'm up there. Always think of you.
I did.
And Lizzie?
Well, Lizzie paid for half of my house, so I've got to be very nice to her.
Liz Smiley, of course, we're referencing.
Gee, what a return from Ruud there. One of his better ones.
15-30.
He's making a bit of a stand here, trying to reverse his fortunes. By the way, just quickly, Liz Smiley's son now, Elvis Smiley. Keep an eye out for him. You like your golf? He just won the Australian PGA Championship.
Brilliant.
He's a ball player.
Yes, found a way to dig it back, and Mensik was left a little stranded there.
15-14.
And to be sure, he hits this in the same place, straight into the forehand wing, and pays the price.
I
I think he's got to be told that tactically, just to be aware of that play that he's using. Get Petco out there to coach him a bit.
Ruud's gone very deep here.
Yes.
I mean, doesn't matter where you stand, it's just indefensible.
Yeah, it's a weapon, and by the way, he's a weapon. See, normally Casper would make that pass, but the approach is so heavy, it's just got him on the back foot.
Game matches.
Bludgeoning his way out of trouble. Just being told that on each of the 3 break points he had an ace on every single one, Fitzy.
Well, that makes it hard to break. Yeah, he has some assets, that's for sure. And usually when the player starts hanging around near the player's box a bit longer than normal, they're looking for a bit of advice. He's not all at sea, Casper, but he is under the pump here. You can see a bit of stress there in the face, you would think.
Yeah, and I think he's getting a bit impatient because from down here you can tell that he's about to turn the momentum, but he doesn't quite manage to. And you can just feel the impatience directed at his box right now. He's playing a lot better here in the second set.
What do you say about that?
Well, the scary thing is it looks so easy, right? He makes it look so simple, doesn't he?
What a shot. Might call that the Petco backhand. She brought that up earlier, and she's right. Like, it just, what can you do? You can't hit that same serve in there. You've got to mix it up, maybe try and go to the body a bit more.
Better width. Definitely feel as though he's trying to up the stakes here a little earlier and executing a little cleaner as well. He holds on to his lead as he looks to take this second set.
Time.
Looked like they could have a good contest in store here after an hour and 14 minutes, proving to be the case. Jakub Mensik, who currently sits at a career high 48. So there's a lot more to come as well. The evidence of what we've seen so far. Forcing the issue, Petko, isn't he, earlier?
He is, and it feels like he maybe has just adjusted to the type of ball that Mensik plays, because he seems to be timing it a lot better. And Mensik just made a gesture that he's not feeling his first serve. You can see it right here.
In this set, he's down 45%. Isn't it? You guys know a lot better than me that when the first serve goes, how it just can infiltrate into your game. It takes the rhythm out a little bit, and Ruud's got more chances to break. Four from four, first serves made on the break points.
Big moment here now. I mean, this will hurt Casper Ruud if he doesn't break here. He has been trying to change the momentum. He's had some opportunities, and at love 40, you've got to grab one of those.
He's missed it. Found a way to get the return back. Casper Ruud has got his first break of the evening. More importantly, he's got the impetus now in this second set. There's the win predictor. Let's see how that's shifted in favour of the man from Czechia. Certainly someone who makes that transition up the court very naturally, doesn't he? He's always looking for that opportunity to squeeze the space.
I love that mindset, especially for a young player. To have that mindset will make him develop into a multi-dimensional player, which he already is, by the way, but a better one. Just a bit of fine-tuning with the approach.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's complaining about his first serve too, so we're even in that regard at least.
The irony, of course, is that effectively being an indoor match, you kind of expect first serve numbers to be a little higher and impacted by conditions. It's quite breezy outdoors earlier on. I actually went out to watch a bit of Riley Opelka play. It was quite cool, it was breezy. He lost in 5 today to Thomas Mahach.
Superlative.
How balanced he is as well through the shot. The first time we've seen him execute on that play. Even wider than he'd hoped to. And again, Ruud just feeling the heat.
This would be a sign of maturity for a young player here, Nick. If he can break back after losing and taking on board the disappointment of losing his serve the previous game. If he breaks back here, that says something about his character, I would think. Clutch first serve.
Yes.
That's amazing, isn't it? Because we mentioned the fact that Mensik had made a whole host of first serves on break point. Ruud has faced 11 break points. He has made the first serve on 10 of those 11.
He's got some firepower, hasn't he? Must be impressive down on the court surface there.
Yes.
Overcooked it. He's given his man another chance here. Going inside in there, obviously you haven't got quite as much court to operate with. Just forced it a little. Is that a footwork issue there, Petko? Because hasn't missed many of those, has he?
He was a bit far away from this ball. You could see he saw it short and wanted to really pull the trigger, but wasn't quite at the ball. I think he thinks it's the strings, but that's what we do, tennis players. We find other people's at fault or objects.
Oh, that's great vision.
Yeah.
Knew what was coming there.
Yeah, that was sensing an opportunity, wasn't it? He could see that Mensik was going to chip that reply and knew that he'd get a good piece of the volley if that was the case. Sneaks in.
Ruud does consolidate the break. And he's a game away from squaring us up here on Margaret Court Arena. Bit of an arm wrestle at times the second set.
Yeah, he did well there, didn't he, Casper, to fight that flurry of winners off from the young Czech, and he's put himself in a position to even this match up now, and then it's game on. He's working hard though. And I'm sure that he's, look, I know how fit he is. Well, pretty obvious how fit he is, and I think if he has several matches in a row that go the distance like his first round, that will have this cumulative effect on him. But I'm sure for this match in particular, he's fine. He would have recovered in 2 days.
So Mensik serving to stay in the second.
59. 30-15.
Find that rhythm again. And that first serve that left him a little bit.
Take that, Nick.
That's with the old balls as well.
Ruud leads by 5 games to 3.
Going to find a way to get a break though. He's had plenty of opportunities. 2 from 12 he is on the break points. He'll get a new stick out.
He's not going to let this set go easily, is he?
Oh, he was sitting on it as well.
30-15.
Manufacture a return. New balls obviously adding a little bit of pace to the Ruud delivery.
Yeah. A ripping forehand there to bring up the set point. So he's back in the ball game.
Made a career out of that +1 shot, hasn't he, off that forehand side? And he can take charge of the rally. 2 set points. We're all square on the MCA this evening. Casper Ruud needed 5 sets to get through round 1. Could be heading a similar direction here. Matches from there till season's close. Qualifying, of course, for Turin, then made the semis of the tour finals. Great effort. Beat Alcaraz and Rublev there before losing to Sinner in straights. Turin, of course, set at altitude has actually, if you look statistically, become the quickest event of the year.
You wouldn't think that altitude would suit Casper, really. I wouldn't have thought. I mean, not that he wouldn't be good on it, but you'd think it'd suit some of the bigger hitters a bit more, bigger servers.
30-15.
Twice he's made the semis now, and Turin. He's come from absolutely nowhere to produce something special.
Well, I thought he was gone there. And Casper played it a bit safe, didn't he? He didn't hit it with a lot of forward speed, that ball. But a good sign from a young player there.
Quick hold to bag as well. I wonder sometimes when you watch these players just how much better movement can become, because they shrink the court so incredibly well.
They do, and the court's still the same measurement, isn't it?
Yeah.
Same dimensions as it's always been. But the athletes are bigger overall, generally. And hard to believe they're not moving just as well as they used to, if not better.
Yeah. Pretty much every modern day player slides on a hard court now, young guys.
Most Olympic sports keep breaking speed records. You'd think this one does. I keep thinking Casper Ruud is older than 26 years of age, by the way. He's been around a while already. I expect him to play like such a mature competitor. It's easy to underestimate someone's age. He's still a youngster. Well, I think the approach is the right direction, but it's too short. And the spin that Ruud uses on a lot of his ground strokes drops that ball short and makes this slightly easier to pass. Still a great shot, but gave him too much of a chance there.
For the change-up.
15-14.
Well, that's where he pressed. He's been doing it for the last set, going after his second serve more. And this time he overdoes it. 171 Ks down the middle. Serves the double.
What a start this should be to the third for the Czech. He's got it. Again, that deep return. tying Ruud up.
Mensik leads by 2 games to 1.
The early break is this man's.
And again, the depth on the return. That causes the problem. It causes that short reply. And with that forehand, it's point over.
Forced himself a smile into the pump. Just a little sloppy. Clue where that was going, did he? Ball toss is so consistent, isn't it?
You know, Nick, that's a sign of how big this serve is. I mean, you rarely hit a serve 200 kilometres an hour wide to that first court if you're a right-hander. You usually take a bit of pace off it. Gee, that's big.
Certainly is. And it's a fairly big lead he's got as well at the start of the third. Mensik accelerating on. Let's have a look at that remarkable point again, Fitzy. We enjoyed. Anticipation. I mean, it was always going to go line anyway, probably, but the fact he got out of that so quickly.
See, logic to me says he should have gone down the line with that approach instead of he left the whole court open then and gave Ruud the chance to knock it off, but he didn't put enough on the passing shot. But he's got some ability to get out of trouble, hasn't he? Spectacular volley in the end. That takes athleticism.
The last time two teenagers beat two top 10 opponents at a major was a long time ago. And of course, it could happen on successive nights here. It was actually Wimbledon 2006, I've just been told. Djokovic and Murray were the two players that had wins. It was 20 years ago. As teenagers, beating top 10 players. We'd have to double check who they were at the time.
Well, they turned into pretty good players.
Yes, didn't they just?
15-11.
I just got back actually and checked. Murray beat Roddick that year in the 3rd round of Wimbledon. I think 5 in the world at the time he was. Djokovic beat Robredo in 06. The 2 players.
30-11.
It was flatter, wasn't it?
14.
Got that one through the court.
Yep.
Game
Continuing to step it up, isn't he? He obviously feels that's the way to go.
That's 3 games to 1.
Gee, it must be a reassuring asset for this kid to have such a serve.
Yeah, this is fascinating stuff. Digging deep here, getting under the bonnet of this sport. Look at the leg drive first of all, compared to the tour average. This is so much of this power in the sport comes from the legs, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And you can see the speed that he's getting because of that.
Yeah. Well, he's just produced a magnificent serve, you know, and he's tall to go along with it. And what an asset. Can you imagine serving like that? And if you get ahead a break in a set,
30-11.
how good does it make you feel to have this to back it up?
And especially when you couple it with the accuracy, right? Because there's a lot of players out there that can serve big, but there's not always that many that can keep it that tight to the lines, which is obviously double trouble. Here it is. Let's have a look at it.
Wow. Yeah. I know I would have paid a lot of money for that.
Game Mensik.
You and plenty of others, I suspect.
Mensik leads by 4
Comfortable
games to
hold
1.
for Mensik. He lost 3 points so far on serve in this set. I guess, you know, obviously the serve's still the most important shot in the game, but factor in the pace. You've also got to factor in the disguise, haven't you? Because that is what, you know, we're in an era where returners have got a lot better as well, right? You know, look at the top of the game, players are returning better.
Well, they are. So many of the modern players serve towards the lines. They go for aces, don't they, quite often on the first serve. I think they could serve more at the body. You know, mix it up a bit more. I love seeing the players that have the ability to take the speed off a first serve, occasionally serve and volley, just to have variety. But generally speaking, they go after this big first serve when they're, especially if they're 6'4" and they have long arms like this.
A lot of good action taking place right now everywhere across the grounds. A couple of hours delay, so plenty of singles matches. being played. Our focus, though, right now on the Margaret Court Arena, where Casper Ruud is in trouble in the third.
Laver.
And it feels like he used that slice a lot more strategically in the second set. Maybe something to try and incorporate again from Casper Ruud's perspective. That's just to throw this young guy off his rhythm at times.
It just seems that this modern trend of power is continuing, though, doesn't it? And, you know, even for a player of this ilk, a three-time Grand Slam finalist, he's at times struggling with the power of this new modern, you know, 19-year-old. But yeah, something different. Maybe the slice to stay low, give him something different to look at so that he can't hurt you as much. But he just looks a bit rushed. Casper?
Yeah, that was a cheap one. Well, there's his fiancée on the far left there.
Wow.
He's left a gaping hole, didn't he? And Mensik was able to ram right through it.
Mensik leads by 5 games to 1.
Well, at times we all get ahead of ourselves, but this kid to me looks like could easily be a future Grand Slam champion. I mean, he's a serious player. What weapons he has. And he moves well. Just as you need to, even if you're that big.
Looking at the forehand in close detail there. Interesting, he's got a slight bend in the elbow, isn't he? Similar to Fonseca. Fonseca has a similar bend in his elbow. The sort of biggest forehands this sport's ever seen. Something like a Delpo comes to mind. Obviously, Rogers was pretty big, wasn't it? Del Potro had that long, straight-armed knee-on contact. Sadly missed one Martin Del Potro. Wasn't able to win the sport on his own terms. It was a shame. He flew Djokovic over, didn't he? At the end of last year to play a little EXO. It was a big goodbye. SMV there.
15-30.
first serve back, isn't he? 13 of 18 he's made in this set.
Hasn't quite got the nuances of, or all the nuances of serving and volleying and moving to the net yet, but I love the fact that he's using it as a young player. That can only stand him in good stead.
The danger of the deep return position, isn't it? When you don't get the ball deep yourself, you put it short, and you're left exposed.
And you're more likely to drop it short when you stand way back too. Just a hard adjustment to get that ball higher and deeper. Well, it looks like the number 6 seed is going to have to come back from 2 sets to 1 here. It's going to be a big ask.
Advantage, Mensik.
He's number 15. Brings up set point. Set for the teenager, who needs one more to record another big victory and reach the 3rd round of the Australian Open. Fact remains, when you look at Casper's career, as good as it's been, obviously, and you put the 2 surfaces side by side, I just had a little look to remind myself of the percentages, the win-loss percentages that Ruud has. On a hard court, he's at 57%, still outstanding. But you put it with his clay court record, 73% win-loss. Still that point. So just a 20% difference in terms of his likelihood of winning a match and surface by surface. Depending on the opposition, of course.
Well, I think a surface like this, it just comes onto the racket. You know, Petko's talked about this and how the flat ball of the opposition today comes through faster, but the surface contributes to that too a little bit.
Yep.
So that doesn't quite suit him as much. Gee, that's good. First class.
Diffused the serve so well there, didn't he? And to get it to the backhand side.
I think that's an indication of the power of this young man, because Casper Ruud would normally not give one side of the court away there. He guessed on one side there, and if the power wasn't as great, he would have waited and tried to run down either side of the court. Ball so heavy from the young Czech's racket.
Dropped in. Thank you very much. He'll take it right now.
First game, fourth set.
Back of the line. Looking at Ruud's record from 2 sets to 1 down in his career on this surface. 3 wins and 7 defeats from this position. Last time he did it was actually at the US Open last year against Jerry Shang, where he was down 2 sets to 1. Came back to win in 5.
He knows where the racket face is, doesn't he?
And again, how balanced is he here?
Well, that's a difficult shot. To change that direction and control it.
Hasn't been a particularly physical match, this one. They're happy, trying to be anyway, trying to lift their man's spirits.
15.
And 3 points. Extremely valuable at this stage. About 80% of the time he's been able to use the forehand after the serve so far this evening.
Well, it's really his trademark, isn't it? That he's got a good first serve. It's not the biggest on tour, but he sets up a few balls like this and great footwork into position and lets it go. That's what he's known for.
First ace of the set. It's a promising game. He'll feel good about that as he sits down in his chair with an early lead in the fourth. Pretty busy December. Did Casper Ruud, he played a couple of exhibitions. Played Holger Rune actually in a bit of a Scandinavian double, one in Denmark, one in Norway. He then went to Macau to play an exhibition over Christmas. He was in Abu Dhabi as well, so he was cashing in.
Well, I guess that's not a bad thing, but sometimes it can interfere with your preparation. You know, they have very little time off, don't they?
Yep.
No off season.
No.
Well, he's not going to roll over. We know that from his history. He's a tough competitor as Casper Ruud, and the young guy's going to have to earn this victory. Still on serve here in the fourth. So many free points though, isn't there?
Yeah, the unreturned serve number. What do we got, Fitzy, right now for that?
There's a lot. So 35% of all his first serves are not coming back. That's just like gold.
Yeah, here we are, Fitzy. Oh, some numbers for us to digest. It's first serve, remember. There's a heck of a lot more that are not coming back from Mensik's perspective.
Yeah, fair call. That was 35% for both serves.
Like the right shot, didn't it?
13.
Just a foot or so too heavy. There it is again.
Yeah, so that's the first serves we're talking about, which are tougher to get back. And there's a big difference there, isn't there? Mensik not getting back 26%, but Ruud not getting back over 41%.
Yeah,
of those first serves.
Yeah, especially when you consider that first serve percentage is almost identical. So there's no kind of disparity there either.
Gee, well, there we go. There was more of the same. Our statisticians can rest their case. Yeah. And that is always a bit painful for the guy who now has to step up and serve his own game. Getting tight now for the number 6 seed.
Touche.
39.
Some way behind in the ace race, though. Because he seemed to get a read on it. Stay patient here.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, sir.
And again, how often have we seen that, Fitzy? On that backhand side.
Well, a big athlete who moves well and then is so balanced that he can hit that. That's as good as we've seen, I think. And the due applause.
Took a page out of his mentor's book there, didn't it? That was Djokovic-like.
Well, he's trying to make his move.
Yes.
Casper needs to serve well now. And I know it's a throwaway line, but first serves here are invaluable because you know that his second serve will be attacked. Oh, he comes through. Clutch.
It's been a good serve from that one. Short, it's so short. So much movement to it. Only 164, but placement was deadly.
Did well, did Casper there. Gee, so important.
So Ruud holding on to his advantage. It's a slender one in the fourth. One thing he has in his favour, of course, is experience. It's the intangible in many ways for Mensik if things do get tight in this fourth set. He's not been in this situation very often, as opposed to this man. He's a former standout junior himself, of course, was junior world #1, was Casper many years ago now.
Time.
Casper Ruud, who first played the Australian Open in 2017. First qualified for it a year later. Deepest run remains that run to the last 16, where played Rublev in 2021, forced to retire actually in that match due to injury.
30-11.
Mensik a perfect 6 from 6. First serve points won in this set.
He's winning his service games easily. A lot of times now, it just reverts so much pressure back onto Casper. He had to face a 40-all point in the previous game. He's just steamrolling on his own service games here. What a weapon.
Petko doesn't feel like he's... How difficult do you think that service to read? I mean, it's pretty obvious in terms of the numbers, but it does look as though Ruud doesn't really know where it's going.
It really looks like it, and in the beginning, and he changes it up. He has patterns, but only for a game, and then he changes it up. In the beginning, I thought he was going for the tees when it was important. Now he's going for the wides. And I think that's what tennis players gets nice applause here. I think that's what tennis players look for normally when they have some trouble returning somebody. Where do they go in important moments? And I don't think he has strict patterns. You have the numbers. Maybe you can look for something, but I don't feel it down here.
Yep, certainly senses the way. I mean, you look at his serve directions today, it's a pretty even split. A little more one-sided on the deuce side.
I think that's an indication that his serve is so good.
Yeah.
He can go anywhere he wants, you know, and if he doesn't favour any patterns, he doesn't have a favourite serve on a big point, that makes him harder to read, it makes him more versatile, and it's a sign that this serve is a good one. And I say that in a reserved manner, it's better than that. Whereas Casper's, look, it's good. It's just not as big, not quite as versatile. Here's a crack. Yeah, crack in the door here, Nick.
A couple of forehands that have just had a bit too much acceleration to them.
Well, he's knuckled down in those 2 points, has Mensik. Refused to miss.
Taking a bit of additional time, understandably. He's paid the price for it. Take that. Mensik's got break points here.
Love 14.
A very big moment in this match.
He's got it. A roar of approval, a roar of delight, because Jakub Mensik needs a couple of holds to record a huge win and book his ticket to the third round. Let's have a look at the ball toss. We talked about the serve. Petko was just sort of referencing, this is the ball, this is the contact point off the serve, i.e. where he's making contact, and you can see there the grouping is very, very tight. You look at sort of a standard set of ball contacts, if that makes any sense. There's definitely a little more of a spread, but that is a pretty solid group, which would suggest, Fitzy, that it's consistent ball toss and one that's quite hard to read.
Well, I think so, and it's probably not too low either, so that means there's more that could go wrong with it. So he's got a very steady hand, putting the ball up in a very similar spot each time. And he can go either way, so I'm sure it's not that easy to pick. Gee, did he play a good game there, or what? Really knuckled down, came up with an amazing winner, by the way, but what a game he played.
Yeah, too true, and he is now in a position of real authority here.
Ruud,
remember, has only broken him once in 2.5 hours.
Petko touched on this earlier. She said these young guns, I think she implied probably that they have less fear than maybe a more established player sometimes, and they go for the winners on the big moments. They play the big moments well. Maybe a little ambitious there, but he's not looking to caress the ball in here. He wants to win each point. rather than let his opponent miss. And it's not a bad mental approach.
Felt like it was the right play, didn't we? I mean,
well, I think so. I mean, if he doesn't go for it, Mensik's going to go for it, and then the point's on his racket, isn't it?
Yep. Another straightforward hold. Another case of guessing for Casper Ruud, really, isn't it?
Gee, we have a serious ball player here, Nick, I think.
22 aces on the day. He's within touching distance now.
By the way, how good to see some new faces. The next generation, here they come.
Back-to-back nights as well.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Tino. 60 winners, incredibly, on the evening.
Tell you what, it might sound great down there, as Petko suggested. I hear a cash register tinging every time he hits that forehand.
Well, you were going to buy stock 3 hours ago. I think you better. I hope you bought them.
I've missed out. They've gone up in value.
I'll sell you some of mine. For the big second.
I don't blame him for pressing. I don't think he has a choice, really.
No. Seven aces, 6 doubles for Ruud tonight. Found a way to stab it back. Casper Ruud is able to cling on. And he knows when he steps out of his chair, must find a break to extend his stay here in Melbourne. his thoughts right now in this situation. Certainly battling against the odds. Test of Mensik's nerve, no doubt. We've learned a fair bit about him already tonight.
Time.
Here comes crunch time. He's already had wins over Rublev. He's beaten Dimitrov as well. Going to add Casper Ruud to the list. Couldn't hold on and just couldn't keep defending the net.
Love 15.
Well, he's given himself a chance, has Casper Ruud. A bit anxious to get forward there, Mensik. And the forehand volley's okay, but there's room for improvement there to knock that ball off. Oh, wow. Athleticism. Height.
15 on.
I'm sure he'll be looking for a free point, though, on the serve. Doesn't want to have to go through too many of these to serve it out.
Yeah, Ruud used the chip return nicely in the opening couple of points here. And again, Fitzy.
Well, his heart rate will be up. Certainly will be now.
Got depth to that one, crucially. Prior to this game, he'd only won 3 points on return in this set as a whole.
Oh my goodness. Was that his last hurrah?
30.
He moved back especially so that he'd have time to make that high deep return, and he just overcooks it.
$40-30.
24 hours ago, a teenager on this very court, been a top 10 player.
Thank you.
There's a sense of deja vu. Match point.
Thank you, please. Game, set, match.
Jakub Mensik
3-1.
records a 5th top 10 win of his career. And he's into the 3rd round of the Australian Open to boot. A wonderful performance. He knocks out the 6th seed in 4 sets in 2 hours and 44. What a performance. Special player for Tim.
Oh yeah, he's here to stay. And you don't have to be an expert or a brain surgeon to realise that, Nick. He's here to stay. What a game he has. It's a frightening game. A young player who beat an established one here. A very, very good established player. And he did it in style. He's got power. He's got so many assets. And there's room to improve. You got to admire this man, though.
A little exposed on a quicker court against an opponent who rushed him.
Maybe. I think so. I think the power is different between these two, and I think a clay court probably equalises him a little bit and helps him have more time. He was rushed a bit tonight, wasn't he?
He was consistently off both sides.
Yeah.
The serve was just deadly for Mensik.
I mean, what weapons this kid has, mate. Goodness me. Just love seeing young players emerge. It warms my heart. I mean, I think that, you know, have so much respect for Casper Ruud, but in this instance, we've seen a young player come through. And it's just enlightening for me to see them come.
Yeah, first time, I think, as we mentioned, since 2006 that two teenagers have beaten top 10 seeds and one major. That was Djokovic and Murray back then. Incredible. Let's hear from the man from Czechia, who is going to be speaking with Andrea Petkovic.
Jakub, what an incredibly impressive performance tonight. You just beat the world #6, Casper Ruud. What are your thoughts right now on your game? This is your applause.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel great. I feel great. So, yeah, obviously it was a tough match. You know, Casper is playing really good. You know, so from the beginning it was, you know, very tough. But I'm happy with my performance. You know, in the first round I showed good performance. You know, I'm happy that I showed also on the bigger court. You know, in front of this beautiful crowd. So thank you guys for the support. See also a lot of Czech fans, you know, takže díky taky všem Čechům, co přišli podpořit dneska. Yeah, that's it.
What were you most happy with? You played a great first set, then Casper came back, but you just got it better and better and better. What was going through your head to up your game even more?
Yeah, after the second set, you know, when it was 1-1, you know, I just tried to play, you know, still the same, try to focus on my game. That was the key for today, because, you know, beat this player on best of 5 sets, it's not that easy, you know, so I'm really happy that I kept focus, you know, keep my level up, you know, and when I was playing longer on this court, you know, I felt also obviously much more better.
Well, you are now 5-4 against top 10 players. What makes you play your best tennis? That's incredible. You're only 19 years old and you're already 5-4. In fact, 2 years ago, you were playing the final of the juniors competition, only 2 years ago, and now you're here beating top 10 players. 2022. Our notes say 2022. But what makes you play your best tennis against the best in the world? That's an incredible quality to have.
Yeah, I'm just happy, you know, that I have that opportunity to play against these players. You know, I'm trying to enjoy every moment on the court, you know, and when I'm enjoying myself on the court, and that's the key, and yeah, then I play my best tennis.
I will let you recover. I just want to give you one fact. The last time 2 teenagers beat top 10 players at a Grand Slam was 2006, and would you like to know what their names were?
Sorry again?
Would you like to know? Would you like to know who these teenagers were who beat the top 10 players in 2006?
Novak was one of them.
Novak, correct.
I don't know.
Andy Murray and Novak Djokovic. That's not a bad group. That's not a bad group to be a part of. You had an incredible match today. Well done. Into the third round, Jakub Mensik.